How's it going, guys? I hope you guys had a great week. So I'm back today with another top 5 video, guys. So September just hit and it is that time of the month again. It's time to talk about some of the best games coming out in September 2019. So these are just a couple of my own picks. These is not every game coming out this month, but here's my top 5, and then there's a couple of honorable mentions as well. So let's get started. So the first game coming out on the 6th of September is Monster Hunter World Iceborn. This is going to be available on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. For those who do not know, it is a massive expansion to Monster Hunter World, which came out beginning of 2018, I think. Fantastic game, such an amazing game. Well, this is going to be a huge expansion, and we are told it is absolutely massive, comparable in size to the old Ultimate and G-Rank versions of Monster Hunter. It will feature a whole new story campaign set after the events of Monster Hunter World, and players will be able to explore a completely new location called the Hoarfrost Reach. It will have, of course, a new Elder Dragon, Velkhana, new customizable weapons and armor from that, and a whole new rank as well, which is called Master Rank, a whole bunch of new monsters. I think we've confirmed 9 so far, and a couple of new sort of new gameplay mechanics and that kind of thing. My favorite one, of course, is Clutch Claw, which allows you to grapple onto monsters. I actually played the beta of Monster Hunter World Iceborn a couple of months ago with Dante and Edge, and I massively enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I am crazy for any areas that involve snow. I always go crazy for any games that have really good snow mechanics. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I can't wait to see the new monsters. I can't wait to fight them. I'm really looking forward to all the different armor sets and customizable weapons, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to jumping in and checking out the world of Monster Hunter again, and Iceborn looks to be an incredible entry into that. The next game coming out this month is Gears 5, which is set for release on the 10th of September, and of course it will be available exclusively on the Xbox One and also the PC. It is developed by the Coalition, and this is actually the 6th installment in the Gears of War series, and it is a direct sequel to Gears of War 4. Gears 5 will actually focus on Kate Diaz, voice acted by the talented Laura Bailey, and the basic premise of the story is Kate is trying to uncover the origins of the Locust as well as her own family. The Coalition have said that they're really trying to focus heavily on the story campaign in this, and they're looking for really good story to be told, excellent character development, and I am all about that. That is my bread and butter, so I'm really looking forward to it. A couple of Gears 4 characters are returning, which makes me happy. So we're going to have JD Phoenix back, his friend, of course, Delmont Walker, and my favorite, JD's father, Marcus Phoenix, will also return. And obviously Marcus was one of the main characters in the original trilogy, so Gears of War 1 through to 3. Of course, it's going to have a single player campaign, which looks incredible. It will have a local split screen couch co-op, which makes me really excited, and I'm hoping I can convince Dante to sit down with me and play this game. I'm sure he will do. It will also, of course, have online cooperative play as well. There's a new mode called Escape, which is a PvE multiplayer game mode, 3-man team, and the basic idea is you start off the mission with pretty much nothing. You're only armed with nothing but a knife, and you have to escape. You have to survive waves of really dangerous enemies, and you have to sort of find ammo and weapons which can run out of ammo and all sorts of things. It's basically survival, and it sounds really interesting. Of course, Horde mode will be back as well, so for all of you that are massive fans of the multiplayer in Gears, in the Gears series, it looks like Gears 5 is going to be offering that as well. But for me, my main interest in this is definitely the story campaign, and I'm really looking forward to finding out where the story is going to go. The third game coming out in September is Greedfall. This is going to be available on the 10th of September, and it will be available to play on the PlayStation 4, PC and Xbox One. It is developed by Spiders, a small indie studio, and published by Focus Home Interactive. It is an action RPG set in a 17th century fantasy world. The basic premise of it is the old world effectively is dying. The continent is polluted, overpopulated, and plagued by a terrible disease. So much of the game is set on this like paradise island called Tirfridi, and it's discovered by colonial forces. And this island is very special because it might potentially have a cure to this terrible disease which you're trying to find. You basically play as a neutral human character who has recently arrived on the island, and you can choose to ally yourself either with the native elves that live there or any foreign nations as well as you hunt for this cure. This game for me gives me vibes of the old BioWare, so it massively reminds me heavily of the old Dragon Age series. It has elements of BioWare games, so we're going to have full character customization. There's going to be magic and monsters as well. The combat actually looks really interesting. You can actually have a mixture of melee combat with weapons. There's even guns and range combat. There's magic. It looks really interesting. It looks really, really good. You will have 5 companion characters as well, and you can have 2 of those in your party at any given time. You even have like fire camps where you can talk to your companions. There are romance options as well. It's very, very BioWare, and of course there's going to be a massive emphasis on player choices, dialogue options, and choice and consequences. So the choices that you make throughout the game apparently are going to affect the way the story progresses and what actually happens. So it just sounds absolutely incredible. The gameplay is basically a mixture of combat, diplomacy, and stealth. So it very much gives me vibes of BioWare's old kind of RPGs, and that makes me really excited because I'm a massive fan of those types of RPGs. So Greedfall wasn't a game I was massively aware of, but since seeing more and more about the game, I'm more and more excited for it, and it's actually priced quite decently. I think it's $34.99, so it's quite a reasonably priced game, so I'm really looking forward to it. The 4th game coming out this month is Borderlands 3. This is set for release on the 13th of September and will be available on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. For those of you who might not know, Borderlands is by Gearbox, developed by Gearbox and obviously published by 2K Games. It's an action RPG first-person shooter. This is actually the 4th game in the Borderlands series, and it is a sequel to 2012's Borderlands 2. It's been 5 years since the last Borderlands games that we had. That was obviously Borderlands the pre-sequel, so it's been much longer since we've sort of seen what's going to happen with the story. I am a massive fan of the Borderlands series. This, for me, Borderlands is the epitome of the online shooter done well. You know, it has great weapons, great loot, great character customization, really interesting world, lore, NPCs, fabulous, great story. It just hits, it ticks all the boxes for me. And the more I've seen of Borderlands 3, the more excited I'm getting. It looks like a really good game. There are going to be 4 new Vault Hunters that you can play as: Zane, Amara, Flak and Mose, each of which will have their own unique abilities, and it just looks really great. There are 2 new antagonists in the game, Troy and Tyrene Calypso. These are basically streamers, online streamers, and they've learned of other vaults beyond Pandora. So obviously at the end of Borderlands 2, Lilith opens some kind of map that is revealed, and it actually does show that there are more vaults throughout the galaxy, and Borderlands 3 is basically, the aim of it is basically to find these vaults. So obviously the Calypso twins somehow learn that there are other vaults beyond Pandora, and they actually form a violent cult called the Children of the Vault, and Lilith basically recruits new Vault Hunters to stop the Calypso twins and obviously help her find these vaults. And whether to close them or protect them or open them, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. There are some new things with the game though that really makes me excited for it. Each character, each Vault Hunter that you play can actually unlock 3 unique skill actions. So they will have 3 skill trees, but each of these skill trees will have their own unique skill action. You can only equip one at any given time, except for Zane, who can actually equip two as the operative character, but that's very new. Previously in Borderlands, you only ever had one skill action, and you just chose sort of what skill tree to follow. So I'm really interested to see how much you can adapt and customize your play style around these skill trees. It looks so much more accessible than the previous games. Not that they weren't accessible, but it just looks like there's so much scope there. Another new introduction is sliding, so we can now run and slide. That will make combat really fast and fluid. That should be really, really fun. We actually have a spacecraft, which is awesome. So we have a Sanctuary 3. This is going to be your space vessel that you will be traveling between galaxies, and obviously all your NPC characters and shops and different things are going to be on there. So I can't wait to explore that. That looks really, really good. And what makes me really excited is instanced loot. So we're actually going to have instanced loot. By that I mean whatever loot appears in your sort of game that is specific to you. Previously in Borderlands, if you played it online with a friend or cooperatively with a friend, loot would always show the same on both screens, and you would have to kind of share that loot. So there were awkward pauses on, you know, who wants it or who's going to get that loot and that kind of thing, and it can sometimes make for some really awkward moments, particularly when you've got some really good loot. But for the first time, we're actually going to have instanced loot, so you're not going to have to share that with anyone unless obviously you want to do so. So I really like that. I think that's really, really good. And you're also going to be able to jump in with people from varying levels. So the enemies on your screen will always match to your own level. So say if you're a level 10 Vault Hunter and you want to play with a friend, but they're a level 40 Vault Hunter, you will actually be able to do that because the enemies that you face will be at your own level as opposed to your friend's level if they're hosting the game. So that sounds really, really good. Recently we've seen a lot to do with sort of end game stuff, and they're talking about the challenge after the game, so the true Vault Hunter mode, which is like New Game Plus. We've got Circle of Slaughter and Proving Grounds as well. These are all about sort of gaining great loot and repetitive gameplay and end game content gameplay. But Borderlands 3 looks really interesting. Dante and I will absolutely be playing this game. We've actually booked a little bit of time off work so we can play it. We're also hoping to stream a little bit of it as well for you guys to check out. And I'm actually going to use the Twitch extension that they've got for Borderlands as well, so you guys can actually have a look at my specs and maybe see if we can figure out how to get some Borderlands loot to you guys if you guys are playing it. But it looks really, really good. The 5th game coming out is Code Vein. That is going to be released on the 27th of September and will be available on the PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Of course, it's developed and published by Bandai Namco, and it's an action RPG. It's set in a post-apocalyptic dystopian setting with vampire themes. So you basically have supernatural abilities. It is set in an open world setting apparently, and the gameplay is heavily inspired by the Dark Souls series. And you can tell that the combat looks really challenging. The enemies look really lethal and really challenging. It's like anime meets Dark Souls. That's effectively what it feels like, and it just looks really, really, really cool. You will be able to customize your character, including their appearance and their playstyle as well, and apparently it will also have online co-op, so that sounds really interesting. Code Vein is a game I'm interested in. It looks interesting. I'm a massive anime fan, so obviously if you're into your Dark Souls games, then this is probably a game that you'll be super interested in. So there are a couple of honourable mentions that I want to mention today, so let's go through those. Firstly, I'm not going to talk about them, I'm just going to show you a little bit of gameplay in the background. So here are the honourable mentions for September. So there you have it, guys. Those are just some of the games coming out this month that I'm super looking forward to. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What games are you looking forward to? What games are you planning to buy or play this month? If there are any games I've missed, please let me know about those in the comment section below. Please share. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great week. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye, guys.